Hello, welcome back. As we had touched upon in the previous section, we will now be moving on to one of the components of PI, the SLD. In this session, what we would be doing is walking you through at a high level, what the various components within an SLD are. What is the role of an SLD? What is a software component? What is the role of a system component, system catalog? What is the usage of SLD in PI? Is what we would be looking at a very high level. And then, very importantly, we would be for the first time launching our PI server, launching the SLD, and starting to do build the components within the SLD for our first hands-on exercise. Okay, so with that, let's relook at what is a SLD, right? Remember we touched upon that in the previous section. The role of an SLD is like a telephone directory. All the systems in your landscape are typically used. All the systems in your landscape typically register themselves to the SLD. The idea of an SLD is that it's a telephone directory because PI is connecting to multiple systems, and PI is your integration platform. PI needs to know what all systems are there in the landscape, what are the types of these systems, what are the physical IP addresses these systems are running on, and so on. So that information is provided to PI via the system landscape directory. So in a typical customer landscape, you would have multiple different types of applications. You will have SAP applications, you would have non-SAP applications. So you can have an SAP ECC, you can have an SAP CRM, a SAP HCM, a SAP supplier relationship management for vendor management, SAP HCM system for human capital management, or for your employee payroll management. For your customer relationship, you use your CRM, and for your core enterprise functionality, you use ECC. You would have multiple legacy applications. This could be a mainframe application. This could just be a third-party Windows application running somewhere. You could have, not only an SAP CRM, you could have a Siebel CRM, you could have a cloud CRM like success, like Salesforce.com. You would have multiple databases, messaging services. You can have third-party J2E applications running, J2E applications, core bar applications. You can have databases, SQL Server databases. You can have supplier network collaboration. Basic idea being any customer's IT landscape or system landscape is extremely complex. There are hundreds and thousands of applications running in the customer landscape. So the idea of PI being an integration landscape, all these systems are expected to register themselves to this SLD so that PI can then talk to them. It can be an automatic registration or it can be a manual registration, but the role of the SLD is to make sure PI is aware of what all systems are there in the landscape. Okay. SLD is typically managed by experienced basis administrators. As a PI developer or as a process orchestration developer, you would not be doing much work on an SLD. Having said that, in this particular exercise, we would actually show you how a product and a software component is developed. But then be rest assured that in 90% of the customers that you would be at, the SLD is managed by typically SAP basis administrators, and the SLD is not managed by the PI developers. Okay. The SAP is based on multiple standards. One of the standards is Common Information Model or Distributed Management Task Force, and so on. So if you're planning to take an SAP certification, these kind of terminologies would be helpful. What are the standards that SLD is based on, and so on. SLD is also used in Solution Manager. So PI uses SLD, Solution Manager uses SLD, and so on. Okay. This is what a typical SAP landscape looks like, right? There are multiple dimensions to a landscape, right? One is what all are the different types of softwares in your landscape. So in the case of a customer landscape, you can have ECC as a software, SRM as a software, BW, PI, PO, and so on. So the SLD provides you with one facet, which is what are all the products and the softwares that are installed at a particular customer's landscape. It also provides you with what are the various landscapes, basically what is the development landscape, or what are the group of systems in a landscape, what is the development system, what are the QA system, and it also provides you with one another facet, that is the technical facet, where hey, what physical server is this ECC running on? What physical instance or what is the database server this SRM system is running on? So basically all this information is available in your system landscape directory. Your SLD will provide you with information around what are the products and software components that are available in your landscape, what are the products that are being used in your landscape, what are the various transport groups in your landscape, and each system that is there in your landscape, what is the physical detail of the system, what is the IP address, host name, what is the database, what is the client, what are all the patches that are there on the system, and so on. So SLD provides you with all the three different facets, and this combined together is used in a PI. This is what an SLD looks like. You have the landscape information. What are the, we'll cover this in detail in the next slide. We'll have the landscape information, and you'll have the software catalog or the information, which is the product information. And this development is more for basis administrators when they want to maintain the SLD or they want to upgrade the SLD. We would only be focusing on the software catalog and the landscape, system landscape. Okay. What I want to do is to explain a software catalog. I would like to give an example so that I can explain the multiple components within a software catalog. Within a software catalog, the first thing that you need to be aware is of a product. So what is a product? SAP ECC is a product. SAP R3 is a product. SAP CRM is a product. What is a product version, then you might ask? SAP R3, if you remember, had multiple versions. SAP R3 4.6c, SAP R3 4.7, SAP R3 4.7b, and so on. SAP ECC also has multiple versions, ECC 5.0, ECC 6.0, and so on. So an SLD will give you information around what all products are installed in the landscape and what are the various versions of these products that are being used, right? Now, that's so far so good. Then what is a software component and what is a software component version? A software component is nothing but the granular modules or units that form a product. If you remember, if you're from a basis background, you would know that an SAP R3 4.6c system will have multiple software components, right? You will have an SAP basis component, you will have an SAP HR component, you'll have an SAP enterprise retail component. So all of this forms what we call as a software component, and the software component version is nothing but for this software component, what is the version? Your SAP basis software component can have SAP basis 6.2, can have version 6.4, can have 7.0, and so on. Same way for HR, same way for enterprise retail. So the idea is your software components will have software component versions and your products will have a product version. So what is the relationship between the two? Using the example that we looked at, a software product is nothing but SAP R3 or SAP ECC. A product version is R3 4.6c, 4.7b. So each product can have multiple product versions, right? So that is why the relationship between a product and a product version is 1:n. Likewise, a software component is nothing but the most fundamental unit of a software. So SAP Basis, SAP HCM, SAP Retail, and so on. And then each of these software components have versions in them. So SAP Basis 6.4, SAP Basis 7.0, and so on. So this is the relationship. And how are these related? The combination of the software product version and software component versions is going to form a unit of a software. Okay. With that, we will move on to the next theoretical information that is essential from an SLD perspective. What is a system catalog? A system catalog is nothing but what are all the systems in a landscape. So this is going to provide you with the physical information in a landscape. So what does that mean? A technical system, a software system catalog contains two components, a technical system and a business system. A technical system is nothing but a physical system or a host on which a landscape is installed. So what that means is, let's take a case of a system in your landscape, your ECC development server. If that ECC development server is called DEV, the SID or the system ID of that ECC development server is DEV or development, then that physical system is what registers itself on the SLD as a technical system. So a technical system is nothing but a physical system or a host that is installed on your landscape. A business system is nothing but a logical system that functions as a sender or a receiver in PI. What that means is, for each technical system, you can define one or multiple business systems. Within the PI layer, within the PI integration directory, you will use what we call as a business system. So it is just a logical wrapper to your technical system. And the reason you use a logical wrapper is so that you can use your own naming conventions within the PI development landscape. Okay, a system catalog contains technical systems and business systems. A physical system in your landscape is called a technical system, and a business system is nothing but a logical reference to your technical system that is used as a sender or a receiving system in PI. Okay. The association between the technical system and a business system varies, right? If you're using a SAP web-based ABAP system, actually let me just take a pause here and just talk about the different types of technical systems, right? There are multiple types of technical systems, which is probably here. Yeah, sorry, I'll go back to that slide. There are different types of technical systems, right? You will have a web-based ABAP technical system, a web-based Java technical system, and a third-party technical system. So what is a web-based ABAP system, right? An SAP ECC 6.0 server, which runs on a web application server ABAP, or which is an ABAP-based system from SAP, is called a web-based ABAP technical system. A master data management system, an MDM system, your enterprise portal, your Java portals that are there from SAP is nothing but a web-based Java, or that technical system is called a web-based Java system. Third-party systems are any technical system that is a non-SAP system. So be it a PeopleSoft system, be it a Salesforce.com system that can register itself to the SLD is called a third-party system. Okay, a business system has three different types of business system: a web-based ABAP business system, a web-based Java, and a third-party. And you guessed it right. If a technical system is of type web-based ABAP, the business system will also be of type web-based ABAP. If a technical system is of type web-based Java, the business system will also be of type web-based Java. If the technical system is of type third-party, the business system will also be of type third-party. Now, what is the relationship between a technical system and a business system? For a web-based ABAP, an ABAP system, as we all know, can have multiple clients. Any ABAP system will have multiple clients, right? So each client of an SAP ABAP system, your 000 client, your 200 client, your customizing client, your development client, each of these web-based ABAP clients can have a business system. So for one technical system of type web-based ABAP, you can have n business systems created. Whereas the relationship for web-based Java and third-party is 1:1. Each Java technical system and each third-party technical system can have only one business system associated with it. Okay? So to summarize, technical systems are classified of three types: web-based ABAP, web-based Java, and third-party. And likewise, business systems are classified as web-based ABAP, web-based Java, and third-party. A web-based ABAP system can have multiple business systems. The relationship between a web-based ABAP technical system and a web-based ABAP business system is 1:n. Basically, where your ABAP system, each client of your ABAP system can be correlated to a corresponding business system. Your Java systems have a 1:1 correlationship between technical system and the ABAP business system, and likewise for the third-party system where the correlation is 1:1. Okay. So this is what is mentioned here. A technical system is a physical system, a business system is a logical system. An association between the technical system and the business system depends upon the technical system type. Uh, SAP web-based ABAP system, each client can have one particular business system, whereas in the case of a Java system, it is a one-to-one relationship. Okay? With that, what we are going to do next is we are going to create a product in the SLD, we are going to create a software component in the SLD, we are going to create a third-party technical system in the SLD, and we are going to create a third-party business system in the SLD. And then we would start using this throughout our hands-on exercises. Okay, so let's go ahead and launch our PI server. Okay, so how do I launch my PI server? The PI server, as we all discussed, if you remember, a PI has two types of installations. It has a dual stack installation or it has a single stack installation. If it has a dual stack installation, your first point of entry is via your ABAP SAP GUI. A dual stack installation contains both ABAP stack and a Java stack, whereas a single stack installation has only a Java stack. So if you are going to do a dual stack installation, if you're accessing a PI server that has a dual stack installation, you would access the PI server via the ABAP stack. And if you're accessing a PI server which has a Java only installation, you'll use a browser. In this exercise, in 90% of this course, we will be using the dual stack server, which is called the PI73 server in the SAP GUI that you see. So you would obviously need reach out to your server administrator to get your system details, but your entry point to your server is going to be the SAP GUI. Okay, because my server is a dual stack server. So I'm going to launch my SAP GUI. I'm going to give my user. In my case, my PI client is running on 0001. In your case, you would need to reach out to your admin to get what client to be used, what is the username to be used, and so on. So once I launch my SAP GUI, you launch the transaction code called SXMB IFR. I'm repeating it and I'm pausing for a second. This is a transaction code that you might want to take a note of if you're taking down notes. SXMB_IFR. This transaction is used to launch the Java stack of PI. So enter SXMB_IFR. Now that you've noted it down, enter SXMB_IFR and hit enter. And what would happen? Your browser would open and you would get this particular page. So if you see, Internet Explorer has opened and I've gotten this page, and this is what is called my PI homepage from a Java stack perspective. So let me do this again. Okay, I'm going to close my session. My PI server is a dual stack server that my administrator has provided to me. And because it is a dual stack server, I am now going to launch it via the SAP GUI. So I'm double clicking on my SAP GUI. I'm changing my client. My PI client is running on 0001. In your case, you need to get the client details from your administrator. I give my username, password. And then to launch my PI homepage, the transaction is going to be, yes, SXMB_IFR. So I then enter SXMB_IFR and my PI homepage is loaded. Okay, what does this homepage contain? It contains the enterprise service repository, it contains the integration directory, and it contains the system landscape directory. Now do you see all the components of PI that we touched upon? Just to summarize one more time, enterprise service repository is the design time, integration directory is the configuration time, and configuration and monitoring is nothing where you do the monitoring of your messages. Okay, but now we are going to focus on the system landscape directory, and sorry, I'll just open my slides and go to the last slide here. Okay, so what are we going to do? We are going to go to the SLD, create a product, create a software component, create a technical system, and create a business system, right? So I'm going to go here, I'm going to go in, and I'm going to launch my system landscape directory. How do I launch my system landscape directory? After I've launched my PI homepage, I click on the system landscape directory link. So it's now going to load. If it asks you, it's now going to ask me for my username and password. So I'm going to put my username and password. So I've put in my username password and my PI homepage with the SLD is now available. Remember in my slide I told you how the SLD looks like. See, this is exactly how the SLD looks like. So what is the first action that we are going to do? Let's open up a notepad. We are now going to define a product. Okay. And what is a product? A product is going to be an SAP R3, SAP ECC, but now we are going to define our own product, and then we are going to define a software component. And after we do that, we are going to define a technical system, and we are going to define a business system. Okay. So now that we are in the SLD, how do I define a product? Click on this link that says product. So click on the link that says product. Wait for it to load, and here you see all the products in your system are available. Typically you will not create so let's go ahead and now create a product. So I'm just make sure the software type is selected as product here. Now if you look at the drop down, you can also view all the software components in your landscape. Now that I've selected that, it's going to take some time to load because there are around 12,000 software components. We'll let it load. Okay, so my products have now loaded. You can see my software components have now loaded. So I'm now going to go ahead, make sure my products is reselected, and then I'm going to click on new. Okay, so what is the options it presents me? Create a new version to an existing product, create a new product and version. In our case, we are now going to create a new product and a new version. So make sure you have selected create a new product and a version. Okay, and then click on next. It is going to ask me my product name. So I'm going to call it Z underscore training 00 underscore PR. Sorry, I call it Z underscore training underscore PRD underscore 00. You might ask me what is the 00, right? So this is pretty straightforward. I'm just giving a prefix called Z to define it as a custom product. It is not mandatory, but that's how I like defining it. Because this is for training purposes, I've called it training. PRD is nothing but product. But what is the 00? So typically what I recommend, especially when you're in the training phases, is to have a numbering convention so that you always remember all the objects, so that if there are multiple people accessing the same server, it is easy for you to identify which object is yours. So if I'm doing the development on this server, all my objects will have a suffix 00. So if you're doing it, you can use 01. If any other person is using it, use 02. And that way, when you're looking for objects and you're trying to figure out whether this object is yours or not, this particular numbering will help you with it. Okay. So throughout the course of this training, what I will be using is a suffix called 00 to just indicate that this belongs to me, so that it's easy for me when I'm searching for an object and so on. Okay, the vendor, let's call it training.com. You can, obviously call it in a customer's landscape. This would be the customer's details, and product version, I'm just going to call it 1.0. So what have I done so far? I've defined a product name. I've provided a product vendor, in this case training.com, and I've given the version as 1.0. This is the first version, right? Next, I'm going to the next. It's asking me for the instance name. So I'm going to call it training underscore product underscore instance. PRD underscore instance underscore 00. So if you see here, this was the name of the product, and now it's asking you the name of a instance. So what have I called it? I've used the same name as the product, but I've also given an additional suffix called INST to indicate that this is the name of the software product instance, right? And then and also remember, I told I'll always use the suffix 00 to indicate that it is my object. So then I go to the next. Now if you see, it has already created a product of type non-SAP product, and this is the name of the product. This is the version, product instance. It has already gotten the vendor. Now it's asking me to give the software component name and version, right? So now I'm going to give a software component name. So I'm going to call it, let me just go back here. Okay, Z underscore training, training underscore SWCV underscore 00. So what does it mean? SWCV is nothing but software component version. Okay, and my version is going to be 1.0. As simple as that. I just make sure your naming conventions are consistent to the type of object that you're creating. You created a product version, you created a product instance, so I called it PRD instance, and now it's asking me to create a software component and its corresponding version, and that's why I've called it Z training SWCV, with SWCV typically standing for software component version 00, to just give the suffix as 00 and the version as 1.2. Okay, and now I say finish. Let's wait for it to do its magic, and voila. What does it say? Suffix successfully created product version Z training PRD00 of training.com with product instance PRD instance 00 and software component version created. So this is the product that I have. If you see, it's called Z training underscore PRD of training.com. And then if I go to the software components tab, it has the product instance and the software component version and so on. So basically I've created a product and I've created a software component version. Now from my software product, I can always click on the software, the hyperlink, and now it will also lead me to the corresponding software component that was created. So let's wait for it to load. Whenever you click on software components, do note that it will take some time. And here if you see, this is my software component, and within the software component it is now showing, hey, this software component is associated with the Z training product and so on. Okay, cool. So what was our exercise? What was we trying to do? We were going to define a product and a software component, and have we done that? Yes, we have. What do we need to do next? We need to define a technical system and a business system of type third party. Before we try to create a third party technical system, just to summarize, there are multiple types of technical system. What are the various types of technical systems? You have a web AS ABAP, a web AS Java, and a third party. A web AS ABAP is used for an SAP system. A web AS Java is used for an SAP Java system. This is used for a SAP ABAP system, and a third party system is used for a non-SAP system. Similarly, what are the types of business systems that we had discussed? You have a web AS ABAP, you have a web AS Java, and you have a third party business system. Okay, so now in this case we are going to create a third party business system. And finally, before we just go back to the hands-on, the correlation between technical system and business system. Web AS ABAP can have one web AS ABAP technical system can have multiple web AS ABAP business systems, because each client in a web AS ABAP system can have one business system. So each client in an SAP system can have one business system, whereas for Java and a third party, the relationship is a 1:1 relationship. Okay, so now that our technical system and so now that our product and software component have been created, let's go back to the home page. Okay, I clicked on this home page, it brought me back to the home page. We have already defined a product and a software component. Now I'm going to go ahead and define a technical system, right? So now when I click on the technical system, I can see all the technical systems that are there, and there are different types of technical systems already in this SLD, right? So first what we'll do is we'll just go ahead and create our technical system. So I'm now going to say, click on this new technical system. Now it's asking me, hey, what is the type of this technical system? I'm going to create a type called third party. Okay, typically you will not use standalone. You'll always use third party. So let's use third party. Standalone is used in very rare instances. So we'll not discuss that in this training. We'll just go ahead and click on a third party. I've clicked on third party, and it's now asking me the technical system name. So I'm going to say TS underscore file system underscore 00. Why file system? All of these most of the exercises that we are going to be dealing with is going to deal with files, right? So some system is going to send files to PI, and that system is now called as TS underscore file system. So this is the third party system that is going to send files to PI, and that's why I've called it file system underscore 00. And why do I use the suffix 00? Just to indicate that this object belongs to me. So when you're doing your development in the training, you make sure you're using your own suffix, right? And a host name is going to be, and this file system is running on my PI server itself. So I'm going to say, I'm just going to copy this and put it here. Okay. You can always give any host name that you want. It does not mandatorily try to connect to this host name. So the host name can be any value that you want. But in my case, my file system is running on my PI server itself. It's a NFS mount. It's a Unix shared mount, and that's why I'm using the same thing. And then I'm clicking on the next. So I've created a technical system. This is the name of the technical system. And again, I've used this prefix TS to indicate that it is a technical system. And I've told what is the physical host name on which this technical system runs. Remember, a technical system will always contain the physical host name. There is no validation that it does, but it is obviously recommended that you use the exact host name. Okay. And then I click on next. Now it is asking me, hey, what are all the softwares that have been installed on this technical system? So here on the left hand side, it's asking me for the products, and let's go ahead and select the product that we created. What was the name of our product? Z underscore PRD, right? Z underscore training underscore product. So what I'm telling is this technical system has this product running on it, right? And this is the product Z training underscore PRD. So I've selected this because I knew the name. I could do that, or if you wanted, you can always click on this filter option and also search for it. So I can do Z star. Okay, sorry, it doesn't work. I can say Z training and enter, and you get the Z underscore training. So I've selected my product, and then it also asks, in this product, you can have multiple software components. So what is the software components? In our case, we've only defined one software component, so I'm selecting that. Okay, so I've created the technical system, and now it's asking me what is the product and the software component on this on this technical system, and I've done that, and I'm going to click on finish. Perfect. What does it say? New third-party system TS file system 00 was on the host has been created. So let's start noting stuff down, right? So technical system name was this. Okay, what was our product name? We'll come back and we'll put that as well. And we'll say product name, SWCV name, software component name. Okay, now we are going to go ahead and create a new. Okay, let's go back to our home. So what were we going to create? We have created a technical system. The next agenda was to create a business system. So go back to the SLD, go back to your home page, and you will find a link called business system. So let's go ahead and create so I click on the business system, and I'm now going to create a new business system. What type of business system is it? Is it a ASAP app, AS Java? No, we are going to create a third party business system, and we are going to call it third party, and I'm now going to go here. Now, remember, a business system is always associated with a technical system. So now I need to go and look for my technical system, and what was my technical system called? TS underscore file system underscore 00. Remember, we had noted it down here, TS underscore file system underscore 00. So I come here and I say, select the technical system. I've selected my technical system. My logical system name, let's give a logical system name here. It can be anything that you want. So I'll say BS business system. I'll just say file sys 00. Okay, let's note it down. Logical system was file sys 00. Okay, I've created a logical system. I've assigned a logical system, and I'm now going next. Now it is asking me for a business system name. So again, I'm using a prefix that says BS file system 00. So this is the name of my business system that I have used. Okay. Business system name that I have given is BS underscore file system underscore 00. Right? It has asked me for the name. I've given the name, and now it's going to ask me for the installed software. Click on next. Is this software installed? Yes, it is installed. Whatever is the product and software component that's associated with your technical system, it will automatically list that. So you select that. Is that done? Yes. And then click on next. You can leave this empty. This is required for transport purposes. In our case, we can just leave this empty. Related integration server. You need not select anything. Let it be none, and then click on finish. And with this, your business system has been created. Okay. So let's go back. What did we do in this exercise? We created a product, we created a software component, we created a technical system, and we created a business system. What was the name of our product? Let's just note that down because we had not done that. So I'm going to go here and I'm going to search for Z underscore and hit enter. And this is the name of my product. So let me just copy it. Z training prod. Okay, this is the name of my product. And then I had also created a software component, so I can search for the software component here. So I select software components and I again say Z star underscore and say go. And here you see I got this pod software component. Z training SWCV underscore 00 was the name of our software component. And this is something I'm gonna note down. Okay, cool. So these are the names of the objects that we created, which we will be using in the next exercise. Let me just save it, saying SLD notes, right? I've saved this down, and with this, we are coming to the end of this session, where what we've done is we've taken our first step into the PI SLD. What did we do? We touched upon at a very high level what is an SLD. Within an SLD, what is a product? What is a software component? What is a technical system? What is a business system? A product is nothing but an SAP R3, SAP ECC is a product. A software component is nothing but, or a version, or a product version is nothing but, what is a product version? SAP ECC 6.0 is a product version. SAP R3 4.6 is a product version. A software component is nothing but SAP Basis, SAP APPL, and so on. And software component versions are nothing but what is the version, right? SAP Basis 620, SAP Basis 640. Technical system is nothing but any system, any physical system in your landscape is called a technical system. And a business system is a logical wrapper around the technical system that is used within your PI integration directory. What did we do next? We went to your PI, we went to the PI homepage and we launched our PI server using the transaction, PI Java stack using the transaction, SXMB underscore IFR. And once we launched that, we will log in, we go back to the PI homepage, and here you have the link called System Landscape Directory. When you click on that System Landscape Directory, it will take you to the SLD. And once you come to the SLD, you can start creating the product and the software components. And we created a product, we created a third-party product, we created a third-party software component, we created a third-party technical system, and we created a third-party business system. And what were the names of that? That's what we noted down. These were the various names that we used. Okay? You might ask, why did we do all this? Do not worry, this is going to lead us to the next section where we are now going to talk about how the enterprise service repository is going to be used and how the ESR is going to use these objects and how we are going to start doing the development of our first interface. So see you soon into the next session. Bye-bye.